What connects us with everything else? How are you today, everyone? I am Thomas, and I'm here to bring you another video from my channel, and welcome. I do primarily educational videos, and one of the things I focus on is the tree of life, as you see here. This is an ancient model of somewhat unknown origin. The ancient Hebrews claim it as their own. The ancient Egyptians are said to have possessed it. It's on some of their ancient monuments and the shape. And who knows how far back it goes? But we have the use that we that I am attempting to teach is our faculties of consciousness. This is really kind of a spiritual map, and that it has 10 different circles, which are spheres, and they're numbered 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then there is an implied circular sphere here called the abyss, and then there is a 0 above the tree. And they represent 12 faculties of consciousness. This is our animal consciousness, our instinct or survival, fight or flight instinct. And then the ninth sphere is our developing consciousness as we're growing up in the home. We are, in the first years of our lives, we are highly receptive and devoted to the people who are raising us. We pay close attention to what they're doing, and we learn we memorize what they're doing and learn how to imitate. So those qualities are all wrapped up here in the ninth sphere. In the eighth sphere, it's somewhat similar, but it has to do with the public space, whereas this is the domestic space. This is the public. So this is the all of the experts that are out there, the conventional wisdom. They're telling you how to think, what to believe, how to go about your life, and all the institutions, and they tell us what to believe, and to the extent that we believe it, we can find ourselves moving into this area as well. We can be called an expert if we fully assimilate their doctrines, their paradigms. So this really has to do with our logical thinking, our rationalization, and our belief systems. The first fallacy is, if you believe something, that is by definition admitting that you do not know. So, this is a very limited, kind of knowing. Then at the seventh sphere, this is for people who kind of maybe tasted the eighth sphere and recognize that there's some very serious fallacies there and very serious problems there. And they come over here and they try to come up with something different. They propose alternatives in order to improve what's going on here, which is kind of a difference from like what's here, where this is a complete alternative separate from this. This is an alternative that is attempting to improve upon this. So they want to, they come over here and they want to bring it back over here to improve upon what's going on there. But at the seventh sphere, so this is really for people who are proposing alternatives through their creative endeavors and also through their inventions. So they invent and create things that are attempting to improve upon what's going on here. So this is for your creative spark, your intuitive impulse, your inspiration, and your pleasure principle. So these things are embodied here in the seventh sphere. This is ruled over by the planet Venus, where this is ruled over by Mercury, and this is the moon. So just you know, there's a astrological planetary component to all this as well. So the inspiration then will draw us up into the sixth sphere. The inspiration is the 1%, and then the perspiration of climbing up here is the 99%, climbing really all the way through, but this is the beginning. So at the sixth sphere, this is really where we are centered. If you look, if this were a map, it would say you are here, and this is our free will faculty, the sixth sphere, and it corresponds to the sun. And it also is our ability, free will is our ability to pay attention and to make decisions. So, but the problem is that we're paying attention to what's down here. So our attention is being preoccupied by these lower aspects. And the key to the spiritual, path is to turn ourselves around so that we're paying attention to our higher aspects instead of our lower aspects. And these are really our conditionings, our attachments, the status quo. And it's a scary thing to turn ourselves around and kind of look into the unknown, because these aspects of us really haven't really been opened up yet. We may have glimmers of them, but we haven't really opened up to that yet. So we're kind of looking into the unknown, and so it causes fear. So that's the main obstacle at the sixth sphere, is overcoming our fear, not by necessarily like defeating our fear or triumphing, but really just facing our fear and recognizing that in spite of our fear, we can still do it. We may not do it well, but we can still stand in the face of fear and do it. As we move further up especially into this 4, 5, 6 triangle, you can see that the tree has 3 different triangles. Main triangles, 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3. So this is really where the spiritual path, is most concentrated, I guess. And so as we move up into the 5th sphere, we then are able to be more we learn how to face our fears on a more consistent basis. This is kind of like a one-shot deal. If you face your fear, that one time, and you recognize that you can do it, and then as you evolve more, then you start actually doing it more and more, and you start being able to hone your skills and actually have some success. An example of that would be kind of like public speaking. Public speaking is something that usually a lot of people are scared by, or public performance, but especially public speaking. You're up there and you're kind of, naked. You're up there yourself, and it's real time, and you have to perform. Everybody's watching you, and you do anything you can to avoid doing it. But when they finally push you out there onto the stage and you have to do it, you're facing your fear and you do it. And even if you're slurring your words or saying and every other word, then you finally finish the speech and you come back, and even if your speech was not very good, you're still like, oh man, I'm so glad I did that, because it stretched me and it showed me that I can still perform in spite of all this fear that I had. And the whole thing was probably a blur, but you recognize that there was some major growth that happened there. So that's really 6th sphere. But at the 5th sphere, you just become accustomed to that. that's where you're up there and you have to give that speech like every day, or you have to give a speech every day. And so it's not, you still have butterflies maybe, but you're able to do it on a consistent basis. Once you get here, then you're actually able to like really succeed, to give a powerful speech every day. So anyway, the fifth and the fourth sphere generally represent the law. Our fifth sphere is a sense of justice. And this corresponds to Mars, the planet Mars, which is our martial faculty, the god of war. But this is really more about nonviolence. So it's about ending wars. And we end wars by using those blades, the sword, in order to cut our attachments. So in nonviolence, we use our blades not to kill the enemy, to kill the enemy, but it's the enemy within, our attachments, our conditionings, our addictions. And this is, and that is in order to prevent waste and violence. So that is karma. Karma is our waste and violence. And this is our karma. As you sow, so shall you reap. And then, so this is the enforcement of the natural law. Whereas at the fourth sphere, we have the articulation of the natural law, which comes through long investigation, experimentation, and so forth, that allow us to observe how the universe actually works, and to put that into a set of laws that make sense holistically. This also is concerned with the universal love and universal language, which I guess are subsets of, the universal law. The abyss here has to do, and the fourth sphere has to do with Jupiter. Then the abyss has to do with our psychic powers. So this is our ability to recognize omens and to act upon them. Two separate parts. Psychic receptivity is our recognition of the omen, and then psychic heat is our acting upon the omens. And those in the ancient Egyptian are represented by two snakes that are intertwining. Very much like the caduceus of the medical establishment. The third sphere, the second sphere, and the first sphere all represent our the creator within us, our divine aspects. This is omnipotence, all-powerful, omniscience, all-knowing, or wisdom, and then omnipresence, all-present, all the time, at once. And this is really like our deepest center, where we connect with everything else all at once. And that's really kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So 3, 2, and 1, omnipotence, omniscience, omnipresence. And then the 0 above the tree is really the mystery, or the nothingness, that is part of the creator, but it's the part that we can't really see or even detect. Okay, so that's a short version on the tree of life. And just keep in mind that, people have spent their whole lives studying this. So if you find it somewhat difficult, just keep at it. It might take a couple months to really learn it, the shape of the diagram and all of the qualities of each one of the faculties. But once you get it in your mind, then it's just like taking a class, high school chemistry class. You have to memorize a few things, learn a few terms, and then you start to be able to understand it conceptually once you kind of download it into your body. And so don't be discouraged if you find it tough going. You can watch these videos over and over, and I do this intro over and over, usually in a slightly different way each time, so that you can, that's how you learn it, is through repetition. Okay, Now, what I've done with my teaching model in order to solidify that repetition is I've taken the whole tree, which purports to be able to describe anything, and I've shrunk it down and superimposed it on each one of the spheres. So I've broken down each one of the 12 spheres into its 12 component parts. That's, like a fractal, which is also what we're going to be talking about today. So that breaks it down into 12 by 12 by 12 by 12, in total of 144 different separate fractal faculties. What I call them stages of life. And those are stages that are not chronological, but they are dramatic stages. And if you want to get a list of those 144 fractal faculties or stages of life, just click the link in the description and I will rush that out to you. And you can use it as a reference as we move through each one of these 144 different stages. I'm rolling them out at random, more or less at random, as this project. This is really the first draft of this. And then eventually I'll be going through them sequentially once I have the opportunity to kind of digest it and put in audio and visual effects, more or less. Okay, so today we're talking about stage number 124. And this is located here in the first sphere. And we are at the 7th fractal of the first sphere. Okay, so the first sphere is about our deepest center. This is all about how we connect at our deepest center with everything else. What's at our center is the same thing as what's at everything else's center, which is the creator. And then the 7th sphere, has to do with our creative impulse, our pleasure principle, our intuition, our simple intuition, because intuition becomes more developed as we move up in this direction. But this is our simple intuition, and this is also our, our creative impulse and our inspiration. And so those things are all kind of wrapped up in this fractal here, in this first sphere. So it's it's a combination of those two things, and it is called shards, shreds, slivers of beauty. Shards, shreds, slivers, smidgens, scintillas, swaths, smithereens, splinters, slices, seeds, sections, snapshots, smatterings of beauty. The fractal geometry of nature. Zoom into another level of resolution. Atoms within cells. Cells within humans. The human being as a cell of the earth. The earth as a cell of the galaxy. The galaxy as a cell of the universe. And the universe as a cell of the omniverse, etc. A laser allows light to travel great distances by bouncing it between two mirrors. A hologram is a recording of the two laser light sources superimposed in various phase shifts and amplitudes to produce a series of intensity fringes on the film. The hologram records the essence. The repeated superimposition of essences supplies the details. Life itself as a holographic movie. The fractal reality matrix. The fractal octave. The rainbow torus. Our 3D coordinate system is essentially a holographic film on which the deeper reality is making interference patterns, shadows, that our consciousness can observe and measure. Fractal coherency is repeatedly nesting something inside itself, called recursion, reduplicated, regenerated, ubiquitously, as above, so below, as in the heavens, so in the body. The entire universe is within the human mind, and all minds are within all others' minds. Unity. We share our deepest center with everyone else, the indwelling source of consciousness and intelligence, our individuated share, our apportionment of the supreme being within our own beings, superconscious. Service to self or service to others, both are off balance. Refrain from taking sides between narcissism and martyrdom. Service to right now. Beatific, non-violative rituals that the sage, the wizard, the revered ancestors have presented to the people, embedded in games and rituals, mythologies and habituals, like sitting by the fire and looking at the stars, the firmament, the solar system beyond Antarctica. Monumental Sheps, the revered ancestor, the founders of religion, taught us how, not what, to all the people, and inspired us with knowledge of plants, ancestor communication, astrology, astronomy, sacred geometry, math, geomancy, and calendar, but not indoctrination. 'Cause we'll ignore our admonitions and insist upon holding on to religion long after they are gone. But the religion will not save us. We must save ourselves, while spirituality comes from within, but also without, in the signs of the stars, the firmament, the zodiac. It is independent of doctrine. Okay, that is stage number 124, Shard Shred Slivers of Beauty. And that is the 7th fractal of the first sphere. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, please press the like button. And you can also share this video and subscribe to the channel. Click the link below, again, if you'd like me to give you the 144 Fractal Faculties list so that you can keep score at home while we go through all these videos. And in the meantime, have a beautiful day, and we'll see you next time.